Hello, my name is Aiden Ditre. A lot of you know me as the founder and the main person behind Small Town Studios. A lot of you also know me as the voice actor of Dr. Massacrick in the Psycho Cuties English fan dub. And today, I'm going to be talking about everything that happened from my perspective. And it's not just going to be me. There's going to be individuals giving statements about everything that happened, including some people who were directly affected. There's going to be people talking that work for me. There's going to be people talking that don't work for me. When all of this was happening, when everything was going on, there's something that I didn't talk a lot about that I implied in some of my streams that we're going to be diving into in this video. When the Psycho Cuties fandom situation was going on, there was a group led by an individual who used to be a part of my server who was actively spreading misinformation, fake screenshots, and false rumors to ruin my reputation. We have an entire file of really terrible things that this individual has done, including some things that are genuine crimes that he could get locked up for, and even confirmation from the individual himself that he did lie and that it was all bullshit. That is right. I am claiming that we have direct, irrefutable proof that the person behind all of this themselves admitted that it was all bullshit. And we are going to keep that with us. We're not going to be showing it in this video. Well, here, you can see this. That is the file. These are some of the blurred images. You can't see much, but this is just some of what we have. The person, if they're watching this, they will know what these images are, and they will know that this is 100% real. On top of that, we're going to have statements from people who were a part of the situation. We're going to have statements from people who work with me, who were affected. We're going to even have statements from people who don't work for me. We're even going to have a statement from the individual that the person used as a way to try and excuse all of these terrible actions. The original friend that he claimed he was protecting is going to be talking later in this video because even they don't want anything to do with the person who was behind this. This person was behind the false racism allegations, the false, allegations, the pretty much almost anything that was coming out around the time that the Psycho Cuties drama was happening was 100% this guy. We are not going to reveal who they are because, unlike they've been spreading, we don't want to do what they do. If I release what we have, I am no better than him. I'm exactly the same. If I do that, how, in any sort of way, can I sit here and try to make myself out to be better? I'm not going to release those unless it is absolutely necessary. I still believe that this can end with everyone letting it go, going their separate ways, and letting this end peacefully. I don't want to fight anymore. I never wanted to fight in the first place. And as the video has already implied, I'm going to be talking about how, when this was going on, I almost didn't make it through it. There was a situation that happened that we will get into later where I did attempt to do something that I can't really say here on YouTube. I'm going to tell you all about that. You're going to hear the testimonies. You're going to basically get everything, all of our side of the story. And to be honest, I still don't think this is going to do much. I don't think after this, the people that hate me are going to change, because as long as they don't see me as a real person, as long as I'm not in their daily life, as long as they want to believe that I'm this evil person, they will never see me as anything else. So I'm done trying. I am done trying to reason with people who acted like they loved me, but secretly, while smiling in front of me, hated me and wanted to ruin my life. It is not my job, nor my obligation, to argue with people like that. That being said, let's get into it. Now, basically, how all of this started was essentially when, right as I was leaving the Psycho Cuties fandom, right when I was ending all of it, someone who didn't like me, I'm not going to say their name, they're the main person that, led the group that was doing all the false information and stuff. They took advantage of the fact that there was a lot of confusion going on with the situation. They took advantage of the fact that there was already a large group of people, aka the Psycho Cuties Russian fanbase, that did not like me. And they used that confusion and chaos, and they saw it as the perfect time to spread misinformation. Half of the ranter accounts on TikTok that you saw talking about the situation were either directly run by his friends, which we can confirm, or were directly given information falsified by him. He was actively spreading this stuff. And he knew it wasn't real because half of it was stuff that he made. The other half was from old controversies that even the original poster of the video that he got the screenshots from deleted after finding out that this was going on. And we did not get along, that original person. We did not get along. And even they felt bad. Even they worked with me to take those videos down, to set the record straight, and it was a whole situation. It was a whole thing, and that was just the first attack. The false racism allegations were just the first attack, which I was able to defend myself from. It got really bad, it got really ugly. Some people that hadn't called me in years were talking to me again because of the fact that they were using this bullshit to try and ruin me. And they thought it was stupid. It got so bad, my friend Makai, who is of color, who I've known for a very long time, we're very close friends, he made this video where he's holding a Sin plushie. It was actually pretty funny, but towards the end it got pretty serious, where he basically said how he thought it was disgusting that people were using false racism allegations to attack an innocent person, when there are actual people with real racism allegations that can be proven, that we are actively doing nothing to try and stop. Me and Makai are actually very close friends, so I feel like, honestly, if anyone would know if I was, it'd probably be him. On top of that, one major point I want to point out is, if I'm such an evil, bad person, if I really did all of these things that they're saying, why are people still working with me? Why are people that were his friends are now my friends and want nothing to do with him? Why would people that apparently know me very, very well, as I've stated before, if all of this was true, don't you think they would have known? Don't you think they would have left? Why am I still getting new employees that want to work with me if I'm such a bad person? Why? Don't you think they would notice if all of this was true? Don't you think it's suspicious that regarding some of the other claims, a lot of the screenshots are two accounts talking to each other using the same wording with both accounts being blurred? Don't you think that's a bit concerning? If you read the original screenshots from the separate allegations involving the, I'm just going to call them R allegations, because I can't say that word on YouTube, regarding those, don't you think it's weird both accounts were blurred? Why would he blur his own account if he was talking to a separate person? If you go back and read the original screenshots, it is very clear that it is him talking to his alternative account. Not to mention, even if they were unblurred, even if he came out with some new screenshots, Discord screenshots are not entirely credible. It is extremely easy to perform basic Discord Photoshop. The Discord text is free to use in almost every editing software. It is extremely easy to fake Discord screenshots. We, in the files that we have collected on this person, we have not just Discord screenshots, we have screenshots from him talking on a TikTok account. We have direct screenshots of him threatening people. We have direct people that he was actively grooming and abusing, who honestly, after talking to them, he's even more of a monster than I thought he was. We have so much on this person. And the entire reason I'm not releasing it is because if I did that, I'd be no better. But I will do it if it is absolutely necessary. But I don't want that. I never wanted any of this. Over the past few days, he's been individually contacting people from the Space Bros Discord server that I had to take down because it wasn't safe. We were actively being spied on by people that were friends with Tomakus, the creator of Psycho Cuties, and they had been in our private Discord server for weeks, almost a full month, spying on a server full of minors. Also, one thing I'd like to point out is, at the time when all of this was happening, I was only 16. I had to grow up faster than almost any 16-year-old had to at my age. I had to experience things that no one my age should ever have to experience. I had to learn how bad the world was firsthand. But I had to do it in such a way where I couldn't even actually express how I was really feeling. I had to do it confidently and I had to do it entertainingly, otherwise YouTube wouldn't have pushed out the videos, meaning my side of the story would have never been told, essentially. I'm sorry. In any case, a lot of what happened, a lot of it could have been prevented if I had just said nothing, if I had just ignored these people, but I didn't ignore them. I kept responding because I thought that if I kept responding, I could keep defending myself. But I now understand that sometimes you just have to let them talk to the wall. Because the more you feed them, the more they're going to come after you, the more you're giving them. I was dealing with people who didn't have a life of their own, so they needed to resort to ruining the life of someone else. And I should have taken that into accountability. And because I didn't, I kept talking about it, I kept bringing attention to it, and more people got hurt. That was my fault. I should have just stopped talking about it. I should have just let them do whatever they did silently until they eventually got bored and gave up. But I didn't do that because I wanted to protect the people I cared about. But I also wanted to protect my own reputation because for some reason I cared so much about what people on the internet thought about me. People I didn't even know, and I don't even know why. I couldn't even tell you why I cared so much. But I did. Really quickly, before I continue and get into some of the darker parts of this video, the new host of the studio, Sunny, who was also a victim of this person who actively was manipulating them, and they want to talk about it, they want to give a statement. Sunny, take it away.
Hi, my name is Sunny, and this is my testimony about what happened. When it all started, I was friends with this guy. We were great friends. He was like a brother to me. I told him everything. I told him about my parents, about everything. And then one day he started attacking Aiden. And I didn't know why. And I asked him to stop. I told him, "Why are you doing this? What are you doing this for?" And he was saying, "Oh, Sunny, I'd never do this to you. It's just justice. It's just my strong sense of justice," he said. And I believed him. I believed that he was just doing what he thought was right, even if I didn't think it was. I went along with it because it was nice to have someone who cared about me that much. He gave me a nickname, I won't repeat it because it makes me cry, but it was so important to me. He was so important. And then he and Aiden started fighting, and this guy was going to make me choose. And then we started fighting because I told him I couldn't do that. You can't do that to someone. But he didn't listen. He just kept doing what he thought was quote unquote right. It got to a point where every day I would wake up and see a new argument and a new paragraph of something I'd have to deal with because he couldn't just fucking talk to Aiden himself. I was stuck in the middle of all this, and no matter how many times he said he cared about me, he didn't prove it. And then we were supposed to be getting ice cream with my family. I was already dealing with everything that was happening at the time. And I sit down and I open my phone and he's talking about something. A message I sent in a private chat, and he said it like right after I sent it. And he was talking about all these secret people he had everywhere, and I thought I was being watched. I don't know if it was like falling into delusions or something, but I was so scared. I don't... My message could never get across everything that this guy did to me. I don't think anything ever could. He tormented everyone I knew, and everyone I loved. And no matter how much he said that he was doing the right thing, and that he cared about me, and that he'd never do this to me, here we are. There he was. He will never be able to understand how badly his actions have hurt everyone I know. Thank you for listening.
Now, thank you, Sunny. I know that was not easy for you to do. Now, Sunny is one of the sweetest, most honest, and good-hearted people I have ever met. And I had never seen them cry as hard as they cried until he did what he did. And as you're going to see later on, that was not the only testimony. We are going to get one from Katt. You may know them as the main thumbnail artist on Space Bros. Also one of the main animators. They did the Space Bros poster. They're also the co-creator of the Slender Mansion series. And they are one of my closest friends as well. And Katt wasn't even directly involved. They weren't even the main target, and even they had to deal with so much, and it was crushing them. I could tell it was. They took it so hard, and they felt so bad because Katt was actually one of the people that he originally tried to get onto his side at first. And more recently, he has quieted down with the public attacks, but only because behind the scenes, one by one, he's been talking to members of the Space Bros Discord server, spreading the misinformation behind the scenes so that he can get more and more supporters. That is why the public attacks have stopped. Not because he wanted to stop, because he ran out of people to use, and now he needs more. And who better to get than the people who were in the server with him when this was going on? That is why the Sleepy Slugs incident happened. That is the entire reason. The main account that was talking about it was directly being followed by one of the people. I'm not going to tell you the account. In fact, we actively removed the only post talking about the Sleepy Slug situation because we never wanted to talk about it again because we were done with it. It was already covered. To basically sum it up, Sleepy Slugs is this VTuber essentially who was really obsessed with the character Star from our show Space Bros. They had pictures of him in the background. They did animations with him where he would, it was weird. They had this whole obsessive thing with him, and for a while in the fandom, we treated it as a joke, and even members of the team got in on it, and there was a bit where these slugs directly requested, not directly requested, more so stated that they wanted art of Star on a body pillow, and Sunny, who had been working on one of the episodes at the time, gave them that, and initially they responded very positively, and later on, after the whole situation, when didn't get to everyone, right around that time, coincidentally, is when they had their friend make a whole entire rant video about how it made them uncomfortable. Well, you know what? Sleepy Slugs, you made me uncomfortable. I stated so many times in the server, you can ask tons of people who were there, you can ask people in the community in my streams, I made it abundantly clear I was extremely uncomfortable with how you were talking about my character. I was extremely uncomfortable with how it became this whole thing in the fan base, but I tried to roll with it. I tried to accept it and let it be. I accepted this is just how fandoms are, okay? It could be much worse, I thought. But now that you're pulling the gears, you're trying to hide, and you're trying to do this to save your reputation, and have your friend talk for you. It is simply unacceptable behavior. It is downright hurting the people that you're claiming you're protecting by not getting involved in this. I have no disdain for you. I never hated you. I was never mad at you. But why? Why did you have to go after my friends? Why did you have your friend do this? And I know that you had them put that disclaimer that you are not in charge of them and you can't control what they do, but they are your friend. You could have actively stopped them, and you are choosing to do nothing while they spread horrible misinformation that you know for a matter of fact isn't true. Granted, my team, like Sunny, should not have been feeding into this, whatever this was. And that was a genuine mistake. I should have been more clear with my team to not engage in fanships between real people. I should have been more clear that we don't get involved in that kind of stuff. And I wasn't, and that's why this happened. Because it was played off as a joke at first, but we didn't realize how serious it actually was. At least at the time. However, by hiding and avoiding the situation that you caused, you are directly hurting everyone here. So please, I'm giving you, and hell, I'm giving almost anyone who was a part of this the benefit of the doubt. Let this die. Have your friend take down the videos. You don't even have to make an apology. Having them take things down and the silence that comes afterwards will be enough. If it ends and there's no more, I will forgive you and I will accept everything that you've done, and I will understand. The way you used my character made me uncomfortable. The way you handled the entire situation, all of it, I will forgive it. In fact, I'll probably never talk about it again. But I simply must bring it up. Because that was a situation that Sunny specifically did not deserve. The fact that you were roping in Sunny, the fact that you actively tried to bring the stuff back up again, the fact that you directly allowed all of this to go forward in the first place, even if you weren't directly behind it, and you actively were approving what was going on before I made a post about it, proves that if I didn't, you would have let it happen, and you wouldn't have felt even an ounce of guilt for your actions, because you too think, I am so terrible, I am so evil. Like I said, if all of you think I'm a terrible person, how are you supposed to see me as anything else? It completely desensitizes your morality. It makes you stop seeing me as a human, and it makes you see me as this digital presence. It makes you see me as this figurehead of something bigger that you don't understand. And you don't know where to attack. You don't know who to get mad at. You don't even know if you should get mad, but you do anyway, and you start hurting people because of it. And that's not okay. There's nothing about it that's okay. I have never thought that creators should use their platforms to attack other creators. And every time I ever cover something isn't because I want to draw attention to it. It's because I want to defend myself. Those videos are not a sword, they are a shield. They are a shield. And whenever I post them, it's hypocritical of anyone else to try and state otherwise. when they're actively partaking in the very thing that they themselves are calling bad. They are actively talking about another individual using their platform with false claims to attack them. But when I do it, and not even in a combative way, when I do it in a defensive way, it is considered evil. If that's all that makes me evil, then quite frankly, you're evil too. All of you who partook in this. None of you know me, and none of you ever will. And you don't need to, you never did. This hatred that people had for me. Why? How can you hate someone that you've never met before? How can you do such terrible things to a person that you don't even know? At least the people that did the terrible things to us have the excuse of having known us, even if it was online. They still knew us. We were still close with them before all of this happened. Even if their actions were terrible, they knew us. What's your excuse? Not that theirs is much of an excuse for their actions. But I'm done. I'm done. Now, we still haven't gotten to the darker subjects in the video because there's one more statement I want to give before that, and then after I give my last little bit talking about what was going on during the days that this was happening, that is when we will give the final statement from the very person that this guy used as an excuse to do all of this in the first place. Someone who was best friends with them, who knew them extremely well, who quite now literally wants nothing to do with them. If that doesn't tell you what kind of person this person is, I don't know what does. If their own best friend that they used to try and start all of this in the first place wants nothing to do with them because of how they acted, because of how they saw them act, and they know them better than probably anyone here that you're going to see in this video, and even they think that what they did was wrong. But moving on, now we're going to take a statement from Katt. And they're going to be talking about how it affected them extremely terribly, and really just what it was like to see me go through what I went through, and just all of it. They're going to talk about it all, pretty much. Because after everything, after staying silent, through going through all of this pain, they deserve that much. They deserve more than I can give them right now. Without further ado, Katt, go ahead.
Hello, I am Katt Otaku, and I was also manipulated by this person. One of the hardest parts of this situation for me to talk about is how much I was manipulated into turning against people I had known, trusted, and cared about for years. At the time, I genuinely believed that I was doing something that was right. I was being told things about people I trusted, and I slowly started believing them. I was convinced that certain people were against me, and that I couldn't trust the people around me, and that I needed to distance myself from them. Looking back now, I can see how I was being isolated from the people who had been there for me long before this situation ever happened. What scares me the most is that it almost worked completely. I came dangerously close to abandoning people who had done nothing to deserve that from me. I allowed someone else's words to change the way I viewed people I had known for years. Even though I was being manipulated, I still recognized that my actions and the things I said affected real people. To the people I am closest to, especially those I pushed away, questioned, or made feel like I didn't trust them anymore, I am genuinely sorry. You did not deserve to be treated that way. You had given me your friendship, your trust, and your support, and I allowed someone else to make me question all of that. I cannot undo what happened, but I can acknowledge that I was wrong and take responsibility for my part in it. This situation has also affected me far beyond the relationships involved. My mental health has taken a serious hit. I have become constantly paranoid and afraid of being online because I keep expecting another argument, another accusation, or another wave of drama to suddenly appear. There have been multiple times where I seriously considered stepping away from everyone, not because I stopped caring about the people around me, but because I felt like disappearing was the only way I could stop hurting them or myself. I have come close to deleting my social media entirely, including my YouTube channel. I have even considered canceling the Judas Front, something I have spent so much time and love creating, because I became afraid of what might happen if I stayed involved in the online community. I don't want fear to make those decisions for me. I am still trying to process everything that happened and understand how easily I was convinced to turn against people I loved and trusted. I am not sharing this to excuse my actions. I am sharing it because I think it is important to be honest about what happened, including the parts where I was wrong. I am sorry to the people I hurt, especially the people who were closest to me. I am sorry that I let someone else's manipulation come between us. And more than anything, I am grateful to the people who stayed, even when I made it difficult for them to do so. I am still learning from this. I am still rebuilding the trust I damaged. And I am trying to remind myself that I don't have to abandon the things and people I love just because I'm afraid of what might happen next.
Thank you so much for that, Kat. My God. As you can see, his actions, he genuinely did damage, like real mental damage to the people that I surround myself with, and their only crime is knowing me. That is the only thing that they've done wrong, is they knew me. They were my friends. That is the only crime that they ever committed, and they had to go through all of this just because they were my friends. And he wanted his way. He wanted to ruin me, and he was going to use them as much as he wanted to do it, without the slightest feeling of guilt. Honestly, if I wanted to, I could dedicate the rest of this video to bringing in all of my friends and them individually talking about how this guy has ruined their life. I could dedicate the entire rest of this video to just people talking about how much this guy damaged their mental health. I could dedicate the rest of this video to exposing him for everything he's done, showing all these screenshots, all of the proof that we've been collecting, shit that we have that, quite frankly, like, if we released it now, this would have been over months ago. But I'm not. I refuse to lower myself to his level. I refuse to be anything like him. And I will only release those if I have to, as I stated previously. Now, before we move on to the final statement, this is trigger warning. This is the part of the video that I think things are going to get really bad. Okay? Just be prepared for that. It's going to get really bad. Now, when all of this was going on, I wasn't doing the best, as you'd obviously expect. You can see it on my stream that I did before I took my very, very long break. I had huge eye bags, my skin was pale, I was coughing so much just from talking a bit too loud. That's because I was getting so stressed out. I was getting so paranoid and so worried. I'd spend entire nights not sleeping, refreshing my phone over and over again, listening to horrible things. I stayed up night after night, listening to people threaten to come to my house, listening to people threaten to burn it down, watching as people successfully doxed me twice, both of which were taken care of almost immediately afterwards, but it was still insane. And the reason I didn't talk about it was because I didn't want to give them attention. That is the last thing I wanted to give these people. So I didn't talk about that part. I got messages telling me to, myself, stuff I can't say on YouTube. I was sent death threats. It was that everything they were doing, plus the rant videos coming out every day, the false information just getting worse and worse and worse, people talking about it on fucking Tumblr. I was losing my mind. All the while, I was still only 16, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to properly handle a situation like this. I was still new to all of this. And this is how I had to find out that the world was genuinely fucking awful. This was how I had to learn. In one of the worst ways that any kid my age could have learned. I wasn't sleeping properly, and then I kept forgetting to eat food, and staring at my phone so much started to hurt my eyes, so I started to dim the lights in my room. Every day it would get darker and darker and darker. I closed the blinds, I started turning out all the lights, until it was just so dark. People begged me to sleep, so I started getting at least maybe like an hour of sleep. And on the day that I did that stream, more accusations had just gotten put up. More rant videos came out. My friends, they were in so much pain, and I thought it was all my fault. They didn't deserve what was happening to them because of me. I started blaming myself. And then I just, after getting 1 hour of sleep, I woke up that morning. I could barely stand up for like a few seconds before I started getting dizzy. There were empty water bottles all over the place. It was just dim and it was dark. The only thing I had was my phone, constantly telling me the most evil and vicious things that any 16-year-old could ever have to listen to. And I couldn't take it, and I broke. I finally broke. And I attempted. I can't say it on YouTube, but I attempted. Meaning, if my friends hadn't called me and talked to me, if things hadn't played out exactly as they did, if I didn't have that support system of people checking in on me every day, making me feel loved and wanted, if I didn't have them check on me when they did, if I didn't have them call me, it wouldn't have been me on that stream, it would have been my parents. I wouldn't even be here to tell you about this myself. This man and his friends, they almost made me commit. I would be dead. I would be, if it weren't for my friends. This is why people need to start thinking about what they do on the internet. This is why you can't harass, send death threats, and bully a 16-year-old. This is why. Because what happens when you do that to the next kid and they don't? And they don't have what I had. And when you have to watch someone's mother try to poorly work editing and make some kind of video talking about what happened, I wonder what lies you'll feed yourself. I wonder what you'll tell yourself then, when some other kid dies. I wonder what you'll say. I wonder how you'll try to spin it to make it seem like you're somehow still the victim. You people should be ashamed of yourself. And still, I'm here giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm still here not saying who it was. I'm still here not spreading what we have all across the fucking internet because I refuse. I refuse to let you drag me down with you. I don't want to be anything like you. Any of you. You people are monsters. You hurt people. You ruin lives. You ruin lives because you don't have your own and you're taking it out on everyone else. I get it, the world sucks. But that does not give you the excuse to do the things that you do to people. There will never be any excuse for what you do to people. And that's why I'm here talking about this now. Because I knew that if I didn't do this now, I probably would never do it. I needed to say this. I needed to talk about this. I needed to... And the Psycho Cuties fandom, they think they're fucking invincible. They think they can get away with doing whatever they want, hurting whoever they want, no matter how young they are, no matter how innocent they are, they think that they can get away with it. Because they never have to face the consequences of their actions. They can make up lies, they can spread those lies, they can even believe the lies that they're telling other people themselves. But that doesn't make the lies true. That does not make their actions okay. This isn't about Psycho Cuties. This isn't about any of that shit. This is about how one man used everything that was going on from Psycho Cuties, from the entire fandom drama, to spread misinformation and tear people apart. Moving on to the final testimony, which is being given by none other than Claudia. Now, for those of you that don't know who that is, there are those who are watching this who are part of the Space Bros Discord server that know who Claudia is. Essentially, Claudia was someone who was in the server for a long time, broke too many server rules, and we had to get rid of them. However, they were really good friends with the person who did all of this bad stuff. And essentially, that person was sitting in the Discord server waiting for an excuse to do everything they did and call it justice, avenging their friend. Well, now, that very friend that they initially used to start all of this in the first place wants nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with them. If their own best friend, who knows them better than anyone else in this video, thinks that they have done terrible things and are not a very good person, then quite frankly, I think that just about proves exactly what kind of person they are. without further ado, the final testimony. Claudia, go ahead.
Alright. Hello. My name is Claudia. You might know me, you might not. You know the drill. This is the video Aiden's been making, okay, yada yada. But basically, this is about, my statement is about my experience. Me and met in that Spacebo server. Oh, the Spacebo server, Lost Media. But, we met in the Spacebo server, we became friends. After Aiden had kicked me from it because we had an argument, I think he, like, talked to me about it, and then, like, he, like, started doing a bunch of shit, and, like, he, like, talked to Aiden first about him, like, kicking me, saying that it was harsh, okay, yada yada, fine, whatever. But then he started to escalate it. And by escalating, I mean, like, that escalator was going, like, 5,000 miles per hour. And then he started harassing Aiden and making fake claims about him. Like saying that he said the N slur. And that he raped somebody. I was a victim to manipulation. I thought what he was doing was good. I thought that he was, with my sense of justice that I have, that I unfortunately have, I wanted to believe that what doing was good. I wanted to believe that I was right in what I stood on. And I wasn't. It really, like, messed me up. Not messed me up per se, it made me doubt myself. It made me think that the reason why this whole thing started was because of that argument me and Aiden had. It wasn't, but he used that argument as leverage to harass Aiden. He was basically soft launching that argument with that. I am a 12-year-old, and the things he was doing was fucking atrocious, and I'm so mad at myself for believing every lie he fed me, and it's really horrible the things he was doing, and it's awful, really. I want nothing to do with him. I really don't want anything to do with him. He makes me sick to my stomach. He disgusts me. This all could have been avoided. This all could have been prevented if just kept his mouth shut instead of just making a smear campaign against Aiden. For what? And for what? Because he was bored? Because he had nothing better to fucking do? If you're watching this, you're a fucking degenerate.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. That's a lot of heavy emotions we got there. Though I guess this whole video's been full of heavy emotions. Look, I just want to wrap this whole thing up with, for all the people that believe the lies, for all the people that were tricked, it's not your fault. Okay? He almost tricked some of the people that are in this video. That's his whole entire thing. However, the people that actively are going with this, the people that are actively contributing to this, who are actively doing this and actively hurting the people that I care about, there is no place for you in society. The only thing to do now is to figure out what you're doing wrong and how you can change. And the last thing I want to leave with is, I don't want anything like this to ever happen again, so from now on, can we please not believe everything we see on the internet? Instead of guilty until proven innocent, it should be innocent until proven guilty. Because look what happened. Look what everyone did. Look how bad it got. Look at what almost happened. We need to start being more careful. We need to start thinking before we start doing things. And more importantly, we need to become better people. So all I'll leave you with is, I won't expose who it is, as one last chance to do the right thing. For everyone to do the right thing. I won't expose who it is. I won't expose their friends. I won't expose any of it. I won't release any of what I have under the condition that everyone stops and this finally can end and everything can be as it was. Well, not as it was, but at least just somewhat peaceful. The damage has been done, but please, stop beating a dead horse. Okay? Stop fucking breaking the boards of the building you already burned down. Just stop. Because I want to stop. And if you continue, it will officially be considered harassment, which is an actual punishable offense. Meaning, there is actually something I could do about this. So please let me live in peace with my friends.